there's a good percentage of our young people that are functionally illiterate. I'm not saying that they can't read. They can read. But if they have to rely on their own motivation to actually read, they won't.
I heard that children of African descent in the UK were not performing as well as they should be in the British education system. So I thought I'd play auntie by offering them an opportunity to express themselves on contemporary issues, and as a result receive feedback from judges who are there to encourage and support them.
My name's Daniel Power and I'm 15.
My name's Shani McIntosh and I'm 15.
My name's Kemi Adiko and I'm 12 years old.
Well, basically as part of the school where I teach, Nubia African Community Foundation School, we basically, or should I say, I basically met Lorna Jones maybe about 3-4 years ago. Now, we'd been getting invitations to actually take part in the Saturday school, but for some reason, I think a couple of times we missed the deadline. For whatever reasons, we couldn't get questions and various other situations. We didn't manage. But once I actually met her and spoke to her about it, I made a firm pledge that that year we would be getting involved.
I'm Lorna Jones and I run the annual essay contest for children and young people of African descent.
How long has the essay contest been running?
We've just finished the 6th one, so we're about to start the 7th.
How was it funded?
Initially it was purely my own funds, and now I have a handful of judges who give me some £5, some 10, some more towards the contest. And this year the children also have contributed towards the prizes.
My name is Diara McIntosh and I'm 10 years old.
My name is Amalola Aderko. I'm 10 years old, nearly 11.
My name is Ayo and I'm 12 years old.
Kwesi McIntosh and I'm 14 years old.
What question did you answer?
I answered the question about Walmart in South Africa.
I had to write an essay about the lessons I'd learnt from older siblings.
Libya, the one about Libya.
Tribe life.
It was basically my opinion on Walmart entering South Africa.
I've had many head teachers, parents email, write, phone to me, tell me how the simple fact of the child having participated have really helped them with their schoolwork as well as their personal development and interest in learning.
We spoke about it briefly at the Saturday school. We gave them the actual topic areas and then went over again how to actually research and how to basically construct their essays. But we didn't help them in terms of the actual content of it. So then we just reinforced the idea that you now have to go away and do the research yourself.
How did you prepare for the essay competition?
I was watching all sorts of stuff like Panorama, YouTube and the news.
Okay. Is that the kind of thing that you watch anyway?
No, not at all.
I was talking to people about the subject that I was going to write my essay on, so that sort of helped as well.
I researched on Walmart itself and how it's affecting the small businesses in Africa.
I researched my essay question on, well, basically the topic, and I noted all my findings. I memorized them, and when it came time to write my essay, I was ready.
I had to think of all the things that my sister had done that I had learnt from, and there's been a lot that I've learnt from her.
Well, I was doing a lot of revision before I got there, just to, get used to what I'm about to write.
I used the internet, I went to the library as well.
Initially I started it simply to help children of African descent in the UK, because that's where I felt there was a need. However, through lack of interest, I opened it up to the African diaspora.
We wanted originally about 10 children to take part in the essay writing competition. On the day, only 4 took part.
So now I have children taking part from English-speaking Africa, French-speaking Africa, so they write in English and French. Brazil, who write in Portuguese. One child even wrote in Spanish, and also the Caribbean, America, the UK. In fact, anywhere where I can find a child of African descent who wants to take part.
There were quite a few children that I spoke to. Nothing could move them to do it. And I'm talking about children who are sort of like in the midst of doing exams, and could do with the practice.
I always think that every time you have to put your brain on paper, you have to do something, it always complements schoolwork. Even though it may not be directly complementary, you just never know what other skills that you have. And you put them to good use and you never know where it will take you.
Why did you take part in the essay competition?
My mum always says that you should always take an opportunity because you never know where it will go. So I just thought that I'd just follow in her footsteps and just try it.
I took part in the competition because I wanted to open new opportunities for me to become what I want to be.
Well, talent was there, and I felt that if I took it up, then it might help me in the future with essays in English in school.
Well, first of all, I didn't really want to. So, but then after when I decided to do it and when I was doing it, it was actually quite fun. So I should have done it in the first place.
There was another extra child that I was on the verge of forcing into, and I found it a little bit depressing, really, that even the lure of cold hard cash wouldn't move them. I thought that kind of really told me something about the state of our young children today, in that they say that children are materialistic, but there's certain things that even material goods won't move them to do. And but with my own children, I can basically just compel them, I can force them, and that's what I do. I make no bones about it. I just tell them they've got to do this, and they do it. Full stop.
I took part in the essay competition because I thought it was a good chance, a good opportunity to take.
It was part of the Saturday school that I go to, and it was just give me a chance to improve my writing.
Thought, I don't know, when I want to apply for something, I'll be able to say I won this competition.
Did you enjoy the process of the essay competition?
I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I was a bit kind of frustrated because usually in school when I write an essay, I get more time than just an hour, and because I can't explain, and the fact that I wasn't allowed to use my notes as well, which is most of the time in school I rely on my notes because I'm not too good at remembering things.
It was rewarding because I didn't remember so much.
Yes, it was enjoyable because I got to meet other people my age.
And why is it important for you to have done the essay competition?
Well, basically, before I was like this, I was kind of like that. I used to think reading was long and writing was long as well. But because I kept on reading and I kept on writing, it just catches on. And I got better and better at it. So now I don't think it is such a task. I can just do it like that.
I want to be a doctor, but I like writing, so I want to become an author as well.
If you want to be an author, you need to be able to read and write. And if you want to do other things, like a mathematician or architect, you need to know how to write down numbers and words.
Would you recommend your friends taking part in the essay competition?
Yes, actually, because it gives you the opportunity to use really good language and different techniques when you're writing.
Yeah, because then you get used to writing exams when you're older. You might have to write exams, but if you do it when you're younger, you get prepared. And then, so it's less of a worry when you're writing essays when you're older.
Yeah, I would actually. Yeah, because the sort of stage in education where I'm at is my last year of school. So, and obviously it's good practice as well. Not just the fact that you sort of learn more about the subject that you're doing, because when you're writing an essay, you're sort of educating yourself because you have to do the research on a specific subject. But I'd also say do it because you have to, for coursework and stuff and exams, you always have to write an essay in English and stuff. So I would say it's good practice.
Oh yeah, because basically if they want to get higher in their grades, then this would certainly help them achieve that level that they're working for.
My full name is Ariola Araba, and 2 of my children took part in the essay.
Why did you want your children to get involved in the essay competition?
A number of reasons. One, opportunities don't always come around for people who are from the ethnic minorities, that's one. Number 2, I always teach my children that they should always be ready. If there's an opportunity that comes by, they take advantage of it and just enjoy it. And then 3, my eldest daughter is interested in drama, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity for her to do some writing or maybe some acting. And my youngest daughter has a website and she writes short stories. Though we had a terrible argument about her coming to this event, she had to give in.
My own children, when they went there, moaning all the way there. Moaning, oh, I don't want to go on with things to do. Shush, you're coming.
And I said to her, just see it as one of your stories. She goes, oh, but I write fiction, not real thing. I said, well, just think in your head you're writing fiction and put your ideas down. You should be all right.
And she excelled.
Yes, she excelled. She said she enjoyed it. She's good.
I felt quite confident. I was a bit nervous, but I felt quite confident because I knew what I was doing.
I felt really nervous because I thought there'll be a lot more people in another room or something that I'll have to compete against.
So how many people did you compete against?
Around probably 20 or 30.
I felt a bit scared because I thought I wasn't going to write enough. But then my mum said to me, just keep writing and eventually the words will just come to you. And that's what happened.
I wasn't too happy about it, the time that it was on, because it was that Saturday everybody went out and I had to write an essay, so I wasn't too happy about that, but I was glad that I studied for it and kind of won.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, but it was kind of hard because I had to keep on remembering my notes, and yeah, it's just hard to think of things to write down all the time, and keeping to the time.
It was kind of hard because I didn't have any notes to write down and I couldn't remember most of the stuff.
Children participate from 7 to 10, it's the first category, 11 to 13 and 14 to 16 years of age.
These things are, as I think some of the children have said, they're opportunities to practice, to prepare, to also to succeed.
I came first in my age group, and when I first heard the first two, I was kind of doubtful because I was thinking, I might not come first. And then I heard my name and I did a little victory dance and I walked all the way down and I gritted my teeth to everyone and I did my little victory dance all the way back. So it made me feel real happy that I came first.
I think it was earlier on in the year when I entered it, I won, I came first place.
This is my certificate for the essay competition.
Ah, fantastic. And where did you come? What age group did you?
I was 7 to 10.
And where did you come?
I was second place.
Fantastic, well done.
I came first and it made me feel happy because I ain't ever gone first in nothing like that before.
Let's make no bones about it, it's always nice to come first in something or come second in something or to receive a prize for something. It's a bit of an ego boost, it's a bit of an esteem builder, it's,
Preparation, it will prepare you for when you go to university or college when you have to write up essays and stuff. And maybe even for what you're going to do in your career as well. You're going to need, to me, essay writing's kind of key.
Most of the time I'm listening to music and things like that, but sometimes you have to put that aside and work hard and you can get back to it.
Turtle eggs are very popular to the nomad tribe and they are a high source of protein. The turtles who lay the eggs bury them in the sand, hoping that the nomads wouldn't find them. But the nomad tribe are extremely good hunters and always know where to find them. Camping on the beach is dangerous. There are people called loggers who cause deadly diseases that they have brought from their country. If you go out hunting, you will see the loggers. I find the nomad tribe interesting because they always have to move places and because I don't know why they haven't made the loggers go back to where they came from. I think the loggers should leave the nomad tribe alone because it's unfair if you give them your diseases. You can spread it in your own country.
Colonel Gaddafi has done a lot of bad things to the country of Libya, such as putting people in solitary confinement. Inside the prison he created, people were tortured and the conditions were so bad they even tried to claw their way out of metal doors. They beat them and deprived them of food. Also, they even resorted to taking off their fingernails. Some even died in there. Most people felt very scared, like I would if I was put in there, obviously. Most people in Libya tried to force Gaddafi out of power so they could stop all this torture. They began to rebel against Gaddafi and got their names as the rebels. As this war was going on, many people were dying, and most fatally injured, including children. Whilst the rebels were fighting, many people tried to flee from the country in order to save themselves and their family. It was very hard to be safe with Gaddafi in power when he has armed forces bombing everywhere and rebels fighting, or should I say trying, to fight back. Colonel Gaddafi did also try to help Libya. If it wasn't for him, Libya wouldn't have satellite TV and phone cables. It wasn't just Libya that he helped. He helped other countries like Nigeria, who also wouldn't have satellite TV and phone cables. These countries were supposed to be paying £500 million every year, but then he made a deal so that they only had to pay £400 million as a lump sum once. To me, I think that it was quite an important gesture and quite a nice gesture, but you can't forget that hundreds of people are dying in hospitals because of the bombing that he could have stopped if he was nicer to his people. The life expectancy for men is 73 years, whilst for women it's 74 years. With all this bombing going on, I don't think that applies here. Overall, I think that Gaddafi should stand down, as it would be better for a people in Libya. Now it will probably take longer to rebuild the city after all the bombing and the war and the destruction of homes.
There are many people in South Africa who have independent businesses. Some of these people are below the poverty line. These people would find it quite hard to make a living as they face bigger rivals who have opened up shops and markets. Some may find it easy to make a living from their independent businesses as they are the people who draw in all the customers. But now, all of this is going to change. Just recently, South Africa has allowed retail giant Walmart to enter and set up shops and markets. In this essay, I will talk about how this could affect local businesses and what I think would happen in South Africa. Walmart is the world's biggest retail company with over 4,000 shops worldwide. Up till now, Walmart has had shops in every continent apart from Africa. In my opinion, this is going to make a huge impact on rivals and independent businesses. At first, Walmart will probably get rid of any major rivals like they had done with Massmart. On a whole, I think most local businesses will be wiped out or bought by Walmart. I, personally, see this as an invasion. I think that once Walmart has cleared any rivals in South Africa, it will branch out to the rest of Africa. If this does happen, poverty would increase as most of the citizens aren't really getting anything out of Walmart being in Africa. Also, I think that Walmart would gain full control over the retail industry in South Africa. As the biggest retail company in the world, I don't think they would set up a few shops in South Africa, put their feet up and be happy. This is why I think that letting Walmart into Africa was a bad idea. Overall, letting the world's retail giant into South Africa is a bad decision. The reason why? Because it is the start of a retail invasion. It will start small, but sure enough, it will branch out, covering South Africa. But I don't think it will stop there. I think Walmart will swallow Africa's retail companies and spit out its own. South Africa probably won't even profit from Walmart. Do you disagree? It isn't right that other races are running our lives for us, stealing from us and our country. We as a people need to change and get our minds right, and this is a prime example of why we should. If we can't stand up for ourselves, run our countries, or even our own lives, then we will be defeated.
I have learnt many lessons from my elder sister Kemi. She regrets being the eldest and I am happy that I am not. Every day she does something wrong and I learn from it. She has taught me not to answer back to my parents by doing it. You see, I learn from her when she does the wrong thing. Let me explain. A few years ago we moved house. Our neighbour to the right was and is an engineer. He fixes vehicles and builds his own sheds, always as busy as a bee. Kemi was so fascinated she was going to tell him. However, we had just moved there. He was a stranger to us. That was lesson 1. Don't talk to strangers. I was only 4 years old. A couple of years after this, Kemi framed me very bad. She doesn't like me mentioning it, though sometimes I have to. Kemi was sick of me being a goody two-shoes, so she wrote on the wall in ours and my parents' wall with black and red pen. My dad was working, so my mum had to stick to me. I can clearly remember me sitting outside of the bathroom while she used it. My sister took all the pens she could find and sniggered as she walked past me, and then I heard my mum flash the toilet. Suddenly, Kemi yelled out, "Lola's written on the wall again." Mother stormed out of the bedroom and I sank. She was glaring at me and shouting at the same time. I was sent to be punished. Eventually, I told her it had been Kemi. Shockingly, she believed me. I was happy I had revenge. That was lesson 2. Don't lie, I was only 5 years old. My parents got tougher on us as we grew up, and I have learnt much more lessons. I can now call them strict but fair. Kemi's annoying but also loving, normally very loquacious though. I have taught her lessons as well, how to behave. That however is another story to write. We are a family of 4. My parents both born in Nigeria and they met in Bulgaria. My sister and I were born in Bulgaria. They were raised up in an African way in England, East London.
Fantastic.
The main aims of the IMF programs were to stabilise financial funds, incorporate business and develop the economy, help the developing countries in financial crisis, and to ensure that there isn't another global issue such as the Great Depression. As those are the advantages, many developing countries met the targets of the IMF of conquering financial crisis. Countries such as Malawi and Ghana have been punished with the flu epidemics and famines even though they obeyed the demands of the IMF. Malawi in the late 1990s raised concerns of AIDS and HIV of the outbreak. As a country committed to the IMF, they were loaned money but were blackmailed and told that they will have to ban fertilizers in crops. As the IMF were at a higher standard of dictatorship and power due to the large integers of participants, they obeyed to the commands of establishment. Unfortunately, there was a famine outbreak as crops failed to grow to normal standards. The rate of malnutrition soared and the nation's economy crippled. Personally, the whole fund establishment are portraying hypocrisy because they are not meeting standards they set themselves. In the future, I believe that the developing countries shouldn't have to be put into a thought-provoking decision to gain one right to lose something else. If this is happening to developing countries, then how are they supposed to develop? When I researched the IMF Foundation, I was disgusted as they are trying to deceive our nations by pressurising leaders to agree to choices that are forced to make. I believe the whole IMF scheme should be abolished, as I believe that the states of individual continents should provide their own system to enable their own economy and to grow.
Walmart was founded by Sam Walton in 1962. On the 2nd of July in that year, the shop Walmart was built on Walnut Avenue, and many others were built. Recently, Walmart has extended itself in Africa. Many would be for and against the idea because of many understandable reasons. An example of those that would be for the idea are Walmart. As a retailing organisation, Walmart have the right to want to expand themselves and grow and to either raise or keep to the standard that they have achieved to reach. By moving to South Africa, they are opening new market opportunities. In my opinion, Walmart will most probably be a bad impact in South Africa because many small businesses will be destroyed, as Walmart can probably afford to charge things for cheaper prices and many will prefer to buy from supermarkets. Small businesses can still continue to run if they move to residential areas so that residents do not have to travel for long distances to buy groceries and other things sold. Those that may be for and against the idea are the general public that have heard of the situation through the news or from other people like me. They may think that although it is not fair on those like Mrs. Ngukolo, Walmart need to extend themselves so that many can buy groceries that are of good quality and that are affordable. For relatives living in South Africa, I would say to try and work in Walmart if they can, and those that can't, and support those that can't. They may be of high profession already and can donate some of their money to those whose businesses have been destroyed. In summary, I think that it would have been best if Walmart didn't move in, but small shops did.
I am going to discuss my views on Muammar al-Gaddafi and why the Western world want him out of power. I will also mention how the article is very controversial to what I have read and learnt during my research. From the research that I conducted, I found out that this war started when a young man publicly set himself on fire because he was tired of his life and the economy underneath Gaddafi for his 40-year rule. He sparked a revolution. From his act of bravery, many Libyans revolted, also feeling fed up with their life and circumstances. They rebelled and planned to overthrow Gaddafi. Throughout this period of civil war in Libya, there have been special programs dedicated to the topic. Panorama was one of them. It featured a documentary that showed what happened in the prisons of Libya and the content of the Libyan people's lives. Panorama went into one of the torture prison cells that Gaddafi had control of and found out the horrible things that take place. One of these is removing of fingernails with pliers. The rebel forces could see that they did not have the resources to fight this battle. They asked the UN and the Western world countries for help. Prime Minister David Cameron and President Obama often appeared on the news calling for a ceasefire and peace talks to draw up some kind of agreement with Gaddafi. But he was interested in keeping power by any means necessary. The Libyan people wanted him out completely. The UN had a tough decision to make. The rebel forces had been sent weapons and supplies to help them, and the UN and other European countries sent helicopters and jets. However, the UN had to decide whether to storm in like they did in Afghanistan, which potentially blew the whole thing out of proportion. There was a huge debate on the BBC show Question Time on this issue. Important and intelligent people discussed whether they thought the UN's participation was a good idea or whether there were other methods of dealing with Gaddafi. The British Prime Minister David Cameron, Nicolas Sarkozy, the French Prime Minister, and Barack Obama, the American President, have all called for ceasefire and peace talks to end this war. I honestly hope Gaddafi steps down despite all the wonderful things he has done for Africa in the past. I think 40 years is enough. All my research concludes to this. Gaddafi has helped Africa as a continent in the past, but he has significantly deprived his people recently while he lived in luxury with his government and family for the past 40 years. The article source I was given was very different to my research. It only consists of the good points, whereas in my opinion, they are hardly overshadowed by the bad points. Libya needs democracy. The Libyans deserve the right to pick their next leader without intimidation or too much propaganda.